this is Joe Castiglione, and you're listening to Not Another Sox Podcast. Can you believe it?
Yankees suck! Yankees suck!
Buenos noches, amigos, and welcome to a special episode of Not Another Sox Podcast. I am Jack Webster here with not Ian Doran, but special guest from Pod on Lansdowne. We have the Fitzgerald Mo Pena for a little bit of a cool episode today. But Fitzy, welcome on. And once again, this is probably like your fifth or sixth time at this point.
It's been a couple of months. I think the last time I was on was talking with Ian specifically about fantasy baseball. But now we're going to be talking about real life footy here. Before we continue, did you change the intro music on us?
Yeah. We were getting demonetized, so we had to finally just like make our own. We've had this happen like 4 times. We started off with like dancing on my own, and that didn't go great. And then we just tried using the Always Sunny one because it was like, oh, they used it because it was royalty free.
Danny DeVito was going to come knocking on your door, threatening to kill you for using the Sunny music there for a while. Had to make a business decision.
Hans von Burden of the 1930s really needs those royalties.
Oh, there you go. That's a good trivia question. I didn't know who the conductor was there, but no, happy to be on. The Believe partnership, the Believe Brotherhood continues with another POL NASP collaboration. And this one has nothing to do with baseball, so I'm excited about it. Even though our baseball team's good now, I'm gonna really enjoy talking about some Prem with you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Like many people, was watching the World Cup, and I was like, okay, I need to give soccer, footy, whatever you want to call it, another earnest chance, because I even worked in soccer for a bit. I love the culture. I have a good understanding of the sport, but I feel like I just never really had a team to connect to, or players that I wanted to like follow and everything. So I'm gonna give it another earnest try here.
Sure.
But in the interest of, knowing the whole league, I have eliminated 2 teams. I have eliminated Arsenal, so that way. Yeah. Hey, I don't want to pick the reigning champs.
Hell?
I don't want to pick the reigning champs because that's a bandwagon. Yeah.
And we are, in case you are wondering, the Arsenal Football Club are the champions of the Premier League for the 2025.
You can still try to pitch me. I'm not going to stop you.
I have notes on Arsenal. I mean, I understand. In all honesty, I get why you wouldn't want to jump on it bandwagon. You don't want to do that. Right? It's like becoming a Cubs fan after 2016. Of course, you don't want to do that, or a Sox fan after 2004. But I have notes about our beloved Gunners. Yeah. So. Don't you
and
worry.
then the other one I was not going to pick was Mr. Fennessy's favorite team, Liverpool, because I do not want to continue to support John Henry more than I have to. I'm doing a lot of it this year.
Obligated to.
Yeah, I don't need to double down on him. I will let Liam be his strongest soldier, and probably support the Penguins back in the day and whatever golf LIV thing, whatever they do now. So I'm sure he will continue to be strong for the both of us here.
Yeah, I do have Liverpool notes here as well. So with Arsenal and Liverpool, even if you're not going to pick either of those teams, for those listening who might also want to start watching the Premier League, as it's pronounced here in the States, but the Premier League is how it's pronounced in England. If you want to start watching the Prem, you at home, you in the car, whatever, I have notes for some of the big teams. Not every team. I don't have notes for every team, but I do have them in tiers here in terms of like what it would be like to support them. So, I'll guide you along the way.
Perfect. And for someone like me, I'm really starting off fresh here. So like I even need to know like when these games are generally, like where to watch them, like how long the season is even, since I'm coming in pretty much clean slate to this.
So in terms of times for kickoffs, Saturday mornings, like people joke about that. It is true. Typically around 10 o'clock is when you could see a lot of the teams in the Big Six. Sometimes even 7 o'clock in the morning, because then that will be that's a noon kickoff in England, 5 hours ahead. So 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Sometimes there are Monday night games The first game of the season is actually going to be on a Friday afternoon. We, Arsenal, are hosting Coventry City, which is a team that was just newly promoted. You're aware of promotion and relegation, of course,
Yeah,
right?
no, I've seen Welcome to Wrexham. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I at
there you
least
go.
get that. Yeah.
Put a pin in Wrexham. I have a note about Wrexham
Okay.
later on here, in case that was a team you were thinking about supporting. But generally speaking, Saturdays and Sundays in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon as well, but that's typically when you're going to be watching the Prem. And I think it's a great lead-in a lot of the times if it's on a Saturday or a Sunday into American football as well. You know, you got a 10 o'clock Sunday game for Arsenal or something like that. They'll take you close to NFL Red Zone or the Pats or something like that. So it's a good way to kind of, prime the pump and get your, your sports weekend underway.
Yeah, no, it's like I'm watching Korean baseball in the morning all over again.
There you go, right?
It's
Except there's
truly...
no global pandemic.
A lot more
so-
fun. I'm gonna miss Yu Young though, and Nasung Bum. So
the memories
maybe
we made
I'll run
along the
into
way.
some of those pals. Yeah,
Shout out to the Dinos, baby.
yeah. 2020 champs, never forget.
That big-ass sword that they won, yeah.
Yeah, that. It was so confusing to everybody, apparently, even the players for that. So they just embraced it. But do they celebrate with the sword in the Premier League?
In the if only they had a sword. No, they have a trophy. I have my championship T-shirt in the other room. I'm not going to run out to get it, but they do like they do the trophy lift. The trophy lifts is always like the big thing. You have a trophy. I'll kind of demonstrate it here. Imagine this phone as a trophy. Start low with hey, that's the big thing. You kind of like run around with it, spin. You do a whole fucking thing. So yeah. If only
Hell
they had
yeah.
a sword, though. It would be sick if they had a sword.
And I think they should just let them have swords on the pitch, as you might call it.
I'm sure there had to have been someone in America watching the World Cup. Because, every 4 years we have this conversation of how soccer has to change, to get American audiences, you have to get rid of offsides, you have to have three-point shots, you know what I mean? The game should be played on ice, with sticks, and then it's on a ball, it's a small little rubber object we could call a puck or something like that. There has to have been someone out there, though, back to the point, during the World Cup being like, just let them have guns. That's how you can make it more exciting. I'm sure someone would say that. And swords falls under that category as well of weaponry on the field. Could be a cannon.
There is a cannon, yeah. So and you know what? Let's start off with Arsenal here, since hey, you get to go first if you win it all. So
mighty
I'll at least listen to your pitch, because I know you guys are called the Gooners, which also is a big deterrent.
Is the Gunners.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
team nickname is the Gunners, and all these teams like Liverpool are the Reds, Man City are the Citizens. You got the Manchester United are the Red Devils. We are the Gunners because the team started way back in the day. It was initially the team was made of workers at an armory or at like a guns manufacturing plant, and they built like cannons and shit like that. So that's how we became we were actually called Dial Square at first, but then we became Arsenal Football Club. But Arsenal Football Club, now with us being the champions, it is a completely whole new world to me. I started rooting for Arsenal probably around like 07, 08 is when I actually started seriously following the club. And they hadn't won the Premier League since the 2003-2004 season, which they were the Invincibles there. They did not lose a single game that season. They then proceeded to lose plenty of games in the decades to come there. But this Premier League win now, it's totally Alex Murphy of Raise the Roof in the chat there. Fellow Arsenal fan. He's wearing their Arsenal 15 road kit in his profile picture. He's a huge gooner just like me. Don't clip that. But it's a whole new world. It's fantastic. As for Arsenal itself, the team is consistently always in the mix for the most part, right? Even if they weren't winning championships, they're always going to be up there in the mix. They're one of the big six teams, and we'll get into the big six for sure. But Arsenal is an establishment of the British game. I believe they are the only club to have not been relegated to the second tier of the British game in over 100 years. They're consistently a mainstay, always in the mix, I would say. As for the fans, we are a rabid bunch, probably a bit of a delusional bunch. We're an extremely online fan base. So there's your pitch there. Arsenal Twitter, is a great time. And we can absolutely be what's referred to as a banter club. People take the piss out of us all the time. People make fun of us for being like the crazy delusional fans that we are. But it is a massive club in terms of support. You will find Arsenal fans everywhere. I'm telling you, when I went to that World Cup game a couple of weeks ago, Norway-France at Gillette, obviously Norway and France jerseys dominated. The third most popular jersey there were Arsenal jerseys. It was impressive. There were Arsenal fans. There were Gooners everywhere, Mr. Webster. It was fantastic. I just kept saying, my God, we are an absolutely massive club. To give you an idea of the spectrum of Arsenal fans, you could kind of put it like two, extremes of a spectrum here. You've got your Anne Hathaway spectrum over here. Great people. Of course, we love Anne Hathaway. And then on the other end, you have Osama bin Laden, both Arsenal fans. Bin Laden was a huge Gooner himself, believe it or not. Arsenal fans are everywhere. It's a big worldwide community. Anywhere you go, you can find an Arsenal bar. It's fun being an Arsenal fan. It's painful. It can absolutely be painful, and it can be maddening. But knowing the community, knowing the club, when they actually do get to mountaintops every now and again, it's very fun. The baseball equivalent I have for Arsenal as it stands right now going into the 2026-27 season, and I did this for the top 6 teams and then a couple of other clubs. I couldn't sit there and name 30 comps. It was hard to do. Arsenal, to me, are the Atlanta Braves. They finally won a title in the 2020s with a young, exciting core, and they have come close in other years. Bukayo Saka, Saka's only like 24. Declan Rice is young. Saliba, Gabriel. Our core has been very, very young. And they came close a couple of years. We came in second place 3 straight seasons before this last one when we finally won. And they'll be in the mix again this year. So there's your elevator pitch for the mighty Arsenal.
Okay, I like it. And I like the idea of comping baseball teams, since obviously it's a little bit of apples and oranges. Yeah. But I also want to know who is like the Colorado Rockies of like soccer. Well, and I know that's harder because there's relegation, but like,
yeah, right? The Rockies get sent to AAA you know what I mean? There's the Rockies, the Angels, and who would be another, just a complete dumpster fire of an organization, like the Royals this year, or the A's or something. Like those 3, they get cycled in for the Woo Sox, the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, and the the Round Rock Express or some shit. You know what I mean? Like it's cyclical.
So is it usually just like whoever got promoted from the year before is usually the worst team, or does it like vary a bit? Yeah,
there are like 2 years ago, the 3 teams that went up immediately went straight down. It depends. It's on a year by year basis. I would say out of the promoted teams, typically you could expect 1 to 2 of them to get the drop again, which that means at least one of them typically survives. But sometimes it is 3 up, 3 down. It's happened before. So
okay.
I think this year, I would say probably 2 of the promoted teams are going to go down. I can't imagine Hull's going to stay up. Coventry might, and I forget who was the 3rd team who was promoted. I don't know. It doesn't matter. You're probably not going to pick those teams anyway. So
yeah. Is there a Red Sox versus Yankees level rivalry?
God, yeah. Oh, okay. Absolutely.
If I had to guess, it's Man U versus Man City. I've heard that
it's one. It's a couple. Yeah. Our big rival is Tottenham Hotspur. We can get into Tottenham in a little bit. Do not, under any circumstances, pick Tottenham. I'm not even saying that as an Arsenal fan. I'm like, for your own sanity, there are Spurs fans who would tell you, no, do not do it.
Somebody commented that as well, so I know this is more than bias. Yeah.
You ask an Arsenal fan 2 main questions that you're supposed to know. What do we think of Tottenham? Shit. What do we think of shit? Tottenham. That's actually a good way to... Chelsea Man U, Ian says in there. Chelsea Man U is a big one. I mean, Arsenal Man U is bigger than that. City United is bigger than that. Liverpool United is bigger than that. Chelsea is a massive club too, but Alex Murphy says Crystal Palace equivalent for the Rockies before they won in Europe. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Crystal Palace has a European trophy, and Arsenal doesn't. I know you're going to say that. But back to Tottenham. That's actually a good transition into there, because you're talking rivalries. That's our biggest rival. To me, Tottenham, who again are shit, they're the Mets. They're the New York Mets, because they're a big city team. They play in North London, just like Arsenal does. Arsenal's a London team. They're a big city team that cannot get out of their own way. They're a mess. They almost got relegated this past season. 2 straight years they've come in 17th place. And just to give you an idea, 18th, 19th, and 20th get relegated. It went to the final day, and in terms of their goal differential and whatnot, Spurs were in a pretty safe spot, but it wasn't a foregone conclusion that they were going to be safe. For a team of that size, the amount of money that they bring in, they just built a whole big fucking massive stadium. The NFL plays their London games at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tottenham should not be facing the drop, just like they almost did this past year. They're an embarrassment. Don't pick Tottenham.
I didn't like the little rooster or whatever they had anyways, and I'm going to be abundantly
clear.
I'm going to be abundantly clear here. Uniforms matter very much for this.
Sure.
I want to have an aesthetically pleasing team. And
Arsenal's
I want to be able
jerseys,
to.
It's always red with white sleeves. That's always our home look. Tottenham's always all white shirts. The Lily Whites are their nicknames.
Okay. I think the player that I most gravitated to during the World Cup, though,
I know who you're gonna say.
Everybody knows what I'm going to say. Erling Haaland, is that how you pronounce?
Yes.
Yeah, he seems like a nice lad.
I will say, again, obviously as an Arsenal fan, I check for that man under my bed every night. He kills us. He horrifies me. He's a fucking ogre demon who I can't stand just on the field. However, he did charm me during the World Cup, I will say. I was a little bit charmed. It's nice when you're not getting destroyed by Erling Haaland, twice a year, so you can actually kind of watch him. I could see why, he could be endearing to people, charismatic. The problem with picking Erling Haaland's team, Manchester City, you were worried about bandwagoning for Arsenal. But no one likes a new Manchester City fan in the big 2026. You are asking for everyone to hate you if you choose Manchester City. And again,
this sounds like the Dodgers almost.
Would you look at that? I have Man City, Dodgers. I said this is all I wrote from. Man City are the Dodgers. Terrorists. They're fucking terrorists. They're the worst. That fucking dirty oil money. And yes, I know I have a Visit Rwanda patch here on Arsenal, so it's not like it's amazing. All the shirt sponsorships and stuff like that. Like Chelsea had an AI sponsor. It's like, no ethical consumption at times with these sort of things. But no, the oil-backed Man City teams, they've been a dynasty over the past decade or so. They've won, I think, 7 of the last 10 titles or something crazy like that. Their legendary manager, Pep Guardiola, he's no longer managing the team. So it's a little bit of a transition for Man City. If there was ever going to be a time to pick City, I guess the post-Pep era would maybe be it. But, they still have unbelievable talent on that team. They still have Haaland. Their wingers are fantastic. They have one of the best goalies in the world. Mark Gahey's a great defender. So they're going to be in the mix again for a title, but just knowing their past success, they just recently won a treble a couple of years ago, which means that they won the domestic league, they won a domestic tournament, and then they won the big European tournament, the Champions League, which Arsenal did not win a couple of months ago, if you recall. It's your life, Jack. Do what you want to do. If I were you, would not pick Manchester City.
Yeah, I don't think I can do that and then just... I feel like a lot of people would do it just because of Erling, but I want to, have it be more than just, I like this player, I'm picking this team at the end of the day, too. Since, players can change teams, and then I don't want to be stuck with them at the end of the day.
I think Haaland's going to go to Real Madrid in a couple of years anyways. I think Madrid is going to make a move for him at some point.
Yeah. So we did initially think Liam was going to be on, but if he was here, what would you think his pitch for Liverpool be? Even though I don't want to support John Henry, but they're obviously one of the big clubs that are always in the mix and everything.
Honestly, pretty similar to Arsenal's pitch. I will say I'm not a Liverpool fan by any stretch of the imagination, but out of the big 6 teams, which is everyone we've talked about, Arsenal, Tottenham, City, Liverpool now, then on top of that it's Chelsea and Manchester United. Out of the non-Arsenal big 6 teams, which is tier 1 on my list, Liverpool is the one I respect the most that I don't mind as much. Obviously, I don't want them to win, and they always give Arsenal pretty tough games. But in terms of the camaraderie of that club, the culture of that club, it's a pretty similar pitch to what I would give to Arsenal. What I actually wrote for Liverpool here Liverpool are the Boston Red Sox.
Interesting.
Things are either really good for Liverpool or they're really bad. That is a big thing with them, and that's the thing with the Red Sox, as I'm sure you well know. They have multiple recent trophies. They've won 2 league titles within the last 5 or 6 years, I believe. I mean, outside of the decade that city's gone on, Liverpool has 2. We have our 1 now, and then Chelsea won, I think, in like 2017 or something like that, 28, whatever it was. The point is, Liverpool has a couple of recent trophies. They're owned by John Henry, of course, and they're known for singing a very popular song in the stands before a game. I know we're after games, in the middle of games and whatnot, but "You'll Never Walk Alone" is their big anthem, and I gotta say, I do get chills whenever they sing that at Anfield. It's on their fucking logo, for crying out loud. At the top of their logo, it says "You'll Never Walk Alone," and it's based off of a song that they sing for their games. All red jerseys. That's their look. They're called the Reds, top to bottom, red, red, red. That's their home look. I respect Liverpool. I do. Again, good club culture, very online fan base. Liverpool fans on Twitter love to make everything about Liverpool, even when it's not about Liverpool. They like to insert themselves into the conversation. So if you like tweeting, Liverpool's right up there. Very funny fan base, the Scouse fans there. So I would say at the end of the day, Liam's pitch is probably pretty similar to mine for Arsenal.
Okay. Well, I at least respect it. I would also have a problem with picking an all-red team in America. So that may factor.
Why? What could that
into,
possibly have?
That's
why you need
know,
the
man.
splash of. Well,
Yeah.
I was gonna say you need a splash of white in there, and it's like, well, hold on now. Don't take that out of context, have it?
We do have a mutual friend of ours, Mr. Fenway attendee, that is a Chelsea fan.
He's like the only Chelsea fan I like.
Yeah.
And there's a Quincy supporter of I don't want to dox him. I don't want to put his name out there, but if he's listening to this, CD, you know who you are. I like you as well. Chelsea fans. Chelsea just sickens me. Chelsea fucking sickens me as an organization, as an entity. The pride of London, the Blues. Get the fuck out. I can't stand them. If it wasn't for United and if it wasn't for Tottenham, I think it'll City now. So yeah, maybe Chelsea's like my 4th least favorite team, and I still despise them. They're an enormous pain in the ass, but they have a massive fan base too. Chelsea has a massive fan base. They have European pedigree. That I think they've won the Champions League twice. Couple of league titles within the last 15 years themselves. What I had for them, as it stands right now, again, all these team comparisons are as things stand right now. Chelsea Football Club, are the San Diego Padres. Because you never let them know what your next step is, what your next move is. Their roster building strategies and whatnot, it's insane. They're owned by, what's the name of the company that, or the group that owns the Dodgers now? Like True Blue or something like that?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah, they also own Chelsea. Todd Bowley is running the show over at Chelsea. And they do the thing where they have the deferred contracts and whatnot, which is like a completely novel concept for people in England. They're like, oh, what do you mean? You spread out the contract for 7 or 8 years so you don't have to pay as much up front. I'm like, yeah, that's like, get ready to learn the NHL, buddy, where they're giving out like 15-year contracts and whatnot. But that's besides the point. They have like 500 players on their roster. You never know like how they're going to develop their roster next. They're all over the place. I have no clue how they make the decisions that they do, but they can be a very dangerous team. But they're also a bit of a banter club at times. They're kind of in the pits right now. So they're kind of in a transitional era. I mean, it could be a fine enough time to invest in Chelsea if you wanted to. And again, friend of the program, Fenway attendee, you can bond with them over that. But Chelsea just sickens me.
Fair. What
some
club
good players
you,
on that team.
Yeah. What club would you say are your favorite uniforms, though? Since we'll try to look them up real time here.
I'll leave Arsenal out of it because I do think our Reds with the white sleeves are very clean. I mean, the all red of Liverpool is good. The all blue of Chelsea can be solid. And again, these uniforms change every year, so it depends. Like, okay, the home kit for Manchester United 1 year could be great, but then the next year it's kind of like, that kind of looks rough. United is all red as well for their shirts. The all white of Tottenham is clean. I have to be real. I'm looking through here. Newcastle's black and white is very strong. The black and white stripes, that's a strong look. Bournemouth with the black and red is very strong. I mean, there's a couple of hits there. Hull City are all orange now, and they're orange and black rather. But they're a newly promoted team. I don't know if you want to invest into Hull City. Do your research. And then you also have throwbacks as well. Like they're like a specific like away kit that Arsenal had worn before is fantastic. You know what I mean? Over the years. So you can kind of mix and match. And the beauty of soccer as well is like, hey, if you wanted to root for Arsenal, but the red and white or something like that, we'll come up with like a green jersey every so often, like as a third, as an alternate. Or like we had one that was black with gold lettering. Like we don't typically wear that color, but we had a pink jersey a couple of years ago, very light pink jersey that was great. And that goes for all these teams. Like if you wanted to root for a specific team, but you wanted to get a jersey that was a totally different colorway or something like that, there's probably an option for you.
Yeah, we do have some suggestions in the chat here from Alex. We have Loki, Bournemouth,
AFC Bournemouth.
Yeah,
so
and
they
also
suggest
Sunderland too.
Sunderland, yes.
Yeah.
So Sunderland and Bournemouth are in my third tier of teams, which we will get to. So put a pin in that.
Okay.
I don't have full comps for them. I only have comps for the Big Six and then 3 other teams that are just outside of the Big Six. And once we're done with United, we'll be done with the Big Six. But they're in a big tier on their own that we will get to later. So put a pin in those 2 clubs.
Okay.
Those are good shouts. So yeah, that's Chelsea. Chelsea's very weird right now, and they're in a weird spot. Can't avoid the elephant in the room any longer. Let's just make this really quick. Manchester United, even as things stand right now, and historically speaking, they are the New York Yankees.
Out. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely no one fucking likes a United fan. I cannot. This match United. Can't stand United. They're the Yankees because historically they're great. They're probably the most successful team in England. Manchester United, them or Liverpool. They're historically great. They had fallen off recently, big time. They're back in the mix now though. They're probably going to contend for a Champions League spot, which means 3rd or 4th place. They might even have a title shout if things break their way. They have a good up-and-coming team. They are incredibly annoying. They're completely unethical hoops. Don't pick United. They're the Yankees.
Okay, this is why I need you. This is why I need you.
Like some of these comparisons are never going to be like complete, like 100% accurate. Like I don't know how accurate the Braves are for Arsenal. That was the closest comp that I could think of. It is actually 1-to-1 perfect that United are the Yankees.
Okay, well, fuck them. But yeah, I kind of knew a little bit about like some of the big ones here, but I am kind of interested to see who is in that second tier that you mentioned.
Sure.
We're going to get to them after our commercial break here. Usually I'm the one that guesses. Yeah. Usually I'm the one that guesses it here, but since Ian's not here and you're our guest, who do you think is going to be on our commercial this week?
Anne Hathaway.
Okay. You know what? And to Anne Hathaway we go. And we're back from Anne Hathaway.
Thanks, Anne.
Yep, thanks, Anne.
Friend of the program.
It reminds me of that 30 Rock bit where Tracy Jordan just like buys an ad and he's just like, what am I doing with this other 20 seconds?
I never watched 30 Rock. I have to get into that.
That is shocking. That is shocking. Like, no, it seems right up your alley. Yeah.
Any bits that I've seen on Twitter, I'm like, this is hilarious. It's just, especially during baseball season. I tell this to loved ones who are like, oh, you got to watch this show. You got to watch that show. Movies are easier because you can, off night. Okay. Like it's, bang out a movie. And I've always liked movies more than TV shows for the most part. Not that I dislike TV. But especially now during baseball, it's like, yeah, I'm watching a TV show right now, and it's 162 episodes long every season. Like, I'm there. It takes up way too much of my time. At least 162.
Yeah, I would say it's the perfect like off-season show. I think it's only like six seasons, so you can do it in a few weeks if you're really trying.
I can usually get one TV show done in off-season. I feel I'm not like a total binge watcher, but Missy Mopena and I, we finished The Sopranos before baseball season started this year, to give you an idea. So
perfect. Hey, great, another great show.
Fantastic show.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But yeah, before we went to break, we were mentioning kind of the second tier of teams
Yes.
here. So who would you say is kind of? I'm guessing this is kind of like the teams that are in like the safe zone of not getting relegated, but also unlikely to win. In
So
a way.
this tier I have named Tier 2 is just trying to make sure I don't fit in. Because by and large, American fans who want to get into the Prem are going to pick one of those 6 teams. The 2 teams in Manchester, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea. They're the big 6 for a reason. Massive global appeal. They, by and large, have the best players in the league. And by and large, they're going to contend for the championship spot, the top, the number 1 spot on the table. They're going to compete for, I mentioned the Champions League a couple of times, the big European tournament. England is allocated at least 4 spots in the Champions League. So the top 4 teams from the previous season in the Premier League, in the British League, go into the big European League. Mm-hmm. England can earn more spots from there. It's too complicated. I'm not going to totally get into it. But when you say that a team contends for Europe, that's what it means. They're contending for spots in European tournaments. And there's more than one. Again, complicated stuff. So these teams here in Tier 2, just trying to make sure I don't fit in. Yeah, they're by and large, they're probably not going to get relegated, even if they have their ups and downs. They're going to basically always stay in the league for the most part. There's one exception in there that we could talk about. But in terms of them competing for the top spot in the Prem, probably not going to happen. They could get close. They can get Champions League spots. It's happened. But they're consistent mainstays that have a fair enough of a following. And they're kind of hipster picks, I'm not going to lie. Like, if you're picking one of these teams to root for, it's like, ooh, I'm not going to root for any of the big 6. I'm going to root for a team like, to start us off, Aston Villa. Aston Villa finished in a top 4 spot this past year. Very good team. Been in the Champions League for a couple of seasons now. Their manager used to be Arsenal's manager, Unai Emery, and he's actually done a very good job there. Aston Villa, they play in Birmingham. They're the Milwaukee Brewers. Okay? They're the Brewers because they have a good infrastructure within the club, but they're a club that will probably never win the big trophy. Consistently in the mix, that's Aston Villa. Their jerseys are kind of like maroon with
I'm looking it up. I do like these jerseys, I'm not going to lie, with like almost like the Philly blue in there. Like, I think that meshes pretty well. So
yeah, it's a bold look. That like Claret, I think, is actually the name. Oh, I'm the only one here. I'm hosting. This is a POL hijack of Not Another Sox podcast here. Listen to Pod on Lansdowne whenever you can after you're done listening to Not Another Sox podcast. But Jack kicked himself out of his own show. So yeah, no, but what is it, like Claret or something like that is the color for Aston Villa, I believe. They're a good team. They just sold one of their best players, Morgan Rogers, to Chelsea. I'm sure you at home know all about that, the 117 million quid, that transfer. This is hilarious. How's he not gone back? Oh, no, I'm kicked
There we
out.
go. Yeah, no. Sorry about that. I clicked the wrong button. This is what happens when Ian is not around. So
there you go.
We're back.
And now Ian's in.
And now Ian's in. Yeah, okay.
Goodness gracious.
Bye. Yep.
All right, bye. Hi and bye, Ian.
We'll edit that out. This is the magic of live
I
TV.
hijacked the show. I was like, listen to Pod on Lansdowne once you're done. No, we were talking about, I say we, it was only me talking about it. Villa did just sell probably their best player in Morgan Rogers. They sold him to Chelsea. I thought he was going to Arsenal, but Chelsea swooped in and took him. So Villa's a good team. They'll be in the mix for a European spot. They're probably not going to win the league anytime soon. But it's respectable. Outside of London, outside of Manchester, it's in an industrial city in England. Again, just trying to make sure that you don't fit in. Could be Aston Villa.
Yeah, I'm different like that.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Another team like that.
I feel like it would be sweet if they won, too, and it would be like, well, I was there beforehand.
Yeah, the villains, you could call yourself. That's the nickname. You could be a villain.
Yeah, that reminds me of Queens of the Stone Age. So I'm willing. I think this might be a front runner right now. I'm
Sure.
saving this one as a finalist. I might have like 3 or 4 finalists when we're done, and we can compare notes and figure it out from there. But I'm officially nominating them right now.
Okay, they're on a short list.
Yeah.
How about Newcastle United? I mentioned that they had great jerseys, the black and white vertical.
I did look up
shirts
those too. Those are cool
fantastic.
too. Yeah.
Historic stadium that they play in St. James's Park. They're in a little bit of a crisis right now their manager of like 10 years just left over the last 2 or 3 seasons. They sold off all their best players. They had a striker named Alexander Isak. He went to Liverpool. They had a midfielder, Bruno. They just flipped him to Arsenal. Alexander Tonali is now with Tottenham Hotspur. So they're in kind of shaky waters, but very north of England. There you go. Yep. Yeah. They have a cool culture as well. They have a song by the lead singer of Dire Straits. That's their walkout song onto the stadium. It's called, Local Hero, I think? And it's just like the saxophone solo. It goes hard. Newcastle, I forgot I wrote this about them. Newcastle United are the Baltimore Orioles because they had a promising young core in the early 2020s and did exactly nothing with it.
Oh, did they also trade away their first all-around draft pick to a division rival?
Alexander Isak probably last year, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is the Orioles then.
Yeah, no, they had a great striker. Isak has been very good, and they flipped him to Liverpool. And they did that a couple of times. They had a guy, Alex Gordon, a winger. If you watch that semifinal game of the World Cup, the England-Argentina game, the guy who scored for England, Gordon, he used to play for Newcastle United, excuse me. He is now with FC Barcelona in Spain, so...
Okay.
They've had a big talent drain there at St. James's Park over the last couple of years. So it's a good opportunity if you wanted to, like you mentioned.
It sounds like a buy low.
It could be a buy low, right?
Yeah.
So they have, I think the Public Investment Fund, I think they have a huge stake in Newcastle. So you could be getting some oil money, but in terms of the infrastructure there, it's a little spooky right now for Newcastle. I don't think they're going to get relegated, but it's gonna be a while before it gets better. I think for Newcastle United.
Fair enough.
They have great jerseys. They have good history. Alan Shearer, one of the best players in the Prem, he cut his teeth. Was very good with Newcastle back in the day. So a Shearer jersey could go crazy for you. They back in those days they were sponsored by I think Newcastle beer. So that was a pretty cool sponsorship. So there you go. Right. Arsenal used to have a Sega sponsorship. If that sways you.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it makes you think, right?
Yeah,
we had Dreamcast as well. Yeah.
Is there any Bud Light ones? Because I love Bud Light.
No, but no Bud Lights. Liverpool used to have Carlsberg beer.
Okay.
There's been a couple of beer ones. I'm trying to think. Again, Newcastle had beer before. Liverpool had beer. Manchester United had AIG for a while.
Oh, God.
They had Chevrolet. I'm just trying to think of
I do remember that, yeah.
I'm trying to think of some interesting shirt sponsors that's happened over there. Again, I could probably draft you a whole list off air, but those are just some of them.
Fair enough. Yeah, well, that one's also put a feather in the cap. I like the idea of buying low and everything, but who else do you got in that second tier?
So I have one more in just trying to make sure I don't fit in, and it's another team that escaped relegation a couple of times in the last decade or so, but they have a new big stadium in that neighborhood of Liverpool.
That's great. I love that. Okay.
Paul McCartney said he likes both Liverpool and Everton, but if he had to choose, he would pick Everton because his dad was an Everton fan, I believe. I think that's the story. But Paul McCartney was a fence sitter on that. He wouldn't commit one way or the other in terms of Liverpool. I don't know about the rest of the Beatles' rooting interests in terms of the football, but so that's Everton.
Yeah.
Again, I think that would be a respectable pick. They don't bother me. Their entrance song is pretty cool. It's like this little cute 60s British ditty. I like it. I think it's Z Cars is the name of it. Again, just opened a stadium recently, the Hill Dickinson. They used to play at a old stadium called Goodison Park. It's almost kind of like Fenway-esque. Everton, that would be a respectable choice.
Okay. Yeah, another cap in the feather there. So
sure.
We'll revisit that one. We do have some from friend of the show, Ian here.
Leeds is in
sometimes
the next
contributes.
tier.
Yeah.
Leeds is in the next
also
tier here.
Nottingham
As
Forest.
is not.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go. Let me go into this.
Let's just get to the third tier here. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 8 clubs in this tier. This is by far the biggest one that I have. Tier 3, I call ethical hooping. This is ethical hooping. This is even further below just like a hipster pick or something like that. Like Newcastle, Everton, Aston Villa might be a bit of a hipster one. I'm going to be different, but I'm still going to pick a competitive team. This is ethical stuff. If you wanted to go sicko mode, a team that could still contend for some European spots, teams that have already secured European tournament spots this year, some of them are included here. The 8 teams. Brighton Hove Albion. Their logo is a seagull. They are very well regarded for their development of young players and then turning them around. They do good business there, right? Blue and white stripes are their jerseys. And they are a tricky team. They are a tremendous pain in the ass, but it is ethical hooping. They used to have Leandro Trossard, who played for Arsenal and won a championship with Arsenal, so I thank them for that. Fulham, right next door to Chelsea. By proxy of them hating Chelsea, I'm okay with Fulham. They wear white and black, white shirts, black bottoms typically. They play, I believe, at the single smallest stadium in the league. It's called Craven Cottage. It is laughably small for a team of fairly big size. I mean, they play in London, so they have a big enough of a following. Crystal Palace recently won the FA Cup, which is the domestic tournament. All teams in England can play for the domestic cup. It's played outside of the Premier League, and it's a pretty big honor to get. Crystal Palace finally won their first major trophy a couple of years ago with the FA Cup. They wear blue and red stripes, and they're named Crystal Palace. I think that's just a fun name. I'm cool with Crystal Palace. Brentford, the Bees, they play Hey Jude at the end of their wins. That's fun. They wear red and white. They're another team that's known for their development of players and then flipping them and turning a profit there. They're kind of the Moneyball team, Brentford. If you like Moneyball, Brentford might be your club. AFC Bournemouth, very fun team. They just recently lost their manager to Liverpool. Areola is his name. I know, haha, Areola is very funny.
You're not allowed to say that. This used to be a family show.
Yeah, you're talking Gooners, you're talking the Tottenham Cocks, you're talking about Areolas. It's very not safe for work here. NASP, more like NSFW.
Whoa.
But AFC Bournemouth, very exciting team. Rock and roll type of style of play that they play. They're called the Cherries. That's their nickname. They wear red and black. They have a kid in their team. He's like 20 years old. His name's Eli Krupi, Junior Krupi. He is fantastic. He's a really, really good player. I don't know.
I like this logo of the guy headbutting it.
The guy heading a little bit.
Yeah.
Because like some of these logos, they all kind of like, it's kind of the older look, and it's great and all that stuff. But there are some distinct logos. One of which is Nottingham Forest's logo. Look up Nottingham Forest logo. It's like very like 70s sort of look, like of its time, but they've kept it there. They are the Tricky Trees. That's their nickname. Those trees do be tricky. They won back-to-back European titles in the 70s, which something Arsenal hasn't even won one European title. That's our one big title that we haven't won. Manchester City's only won one European title. Nottingham Forest, for their history, they have 2. They won back-to-back, so they have that a little bit. They usually wear all red. They have some good players. They're kind of a thorn in your side type of team. Sunderland is one of the best stories in the Prem recently. They were relegation fodder going into last season. People were like, oh, they're going to get sent down. They're up by Newcastle as well, I believe. Sunderland, they're like way up north. Sunderland came in like 7th place in the league. They came in like 6th or 7th place, and they got a European spot. Very fun team, very up-and-coming team, inspiring sort of story. Sunderland's not a bad pick, wearing the red and white shirts. A lot of teams wear red and white striped shirts in the Prem. You'll come to learn that.
I have quickly gathered that.
Yeah. And then Leeds United. Ian said Leeds United, marching on together. Leeds, that's a fun enough of a team. Usually wear all white. They've had a couple American players over the last couple of years, so if you wanted to have that sort of connection there as you're wearing your New England Revolution crayon hat, which is gas, by the way. I should have mentioned that at the top. Yeah. Leeds is an interesting pick for that. Great. I
do like these color mix. It's almost like a reversed
the blue and gold,
reverse like original City Connect.
Yeah.
Which I wish they did. Like we got the blue socks instead of the yellow socks.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they've kind of been up and down recently. They won promotion a couple of years ago. They've been sent down a couple of years ago. They've been they've been up and down.
Okay.
And that's what we have for ethical hooping.
Okay. Is there any teams I should just like, other than the ones that we mentioned, like absolutely avoid? Because I think we've gotten to all of them at this point, right?
No, we have missed 3 teams, and then there are a couple of teams that are currently in the second tier. They're in the championship, which is kind of a misnomer. It's not the championship. It's the second tier of the league. The Premier League is the top. Yeah. But I do have a couple of teams that have been relegated or have not been promoted to the Premier League yet, just to make sure we have all of our bases covered.
Okay.
I will skip tier 4 for now and go to tier 5, which I've just named Why. Like, why would you do this? That's Hull City and it's Coventry City. All due respect to those teams, to both of those teams rather, they just won promotion to the Prem. But why would you invest your emotional stake in that when they could just be like a yo-yo? They could go straight down from there. Hull City are the Tigers. They wear orange, and it's their logo. It's just a tiger, and it's a shield that says Hull City. Very simple. Coventry City has an elephant on their logo, which is kind of cool. And they actually were pretty good last year in the championship, if I'm not mistaken. They could stay up, but it is just not much to hold on to for these relegated teams. To go back up to tier 4, tier 4 is simply called Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran tier is one team, and it's Ipswich Town. Ipswich Town is the beloved team of Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran's tour, like the Mathematics Tour, I think it was called, sponsored their shirt for like a season or two. Like, they were sponsored by Ed Sheeran. Like, this says Emirates. It has, like, the plus minus divide exclamation like tour there. So that's Ed Sheeran tier. If you like yourself some Ed Sheeran, you're gonna want to root for Ipswich Town. The Tractor Boys, which is a great nickname. The Tractor Boys. Oof, it's gas.
Okay. I like Ed Sheeran, all right, but I'm not fully invested enough.
You're not gonna pick a team because of Ed Sheeran.
I don't think I'm gonna pick them because of Ed Sheeran. So. Yeah, I think, and then obviously
owner of the team now, as a matter of fact. But again,
that's actually pretty cool. I do like that.
Yeah.
But you mentioned some of the Champions League teams that are kind of, I'm guessing, like either
or the championship,
up or down.
Not the champions. These are certainly not Champions League teams. These are championship.
Sorry.
So I have this is tier 6. This is Hell tier. West Ham United is in Hell tier. They got relegated. They're usually in a mid-table team. They're a team that typically finishes about 10th or so. It was either going to be West Ham or Tottenham being relegated last year. It was West Ham. They're a London team. They play in the London Stadium where they had the Olympics in 2012. That's their stadium. Are you familiar with the film Green Street Hooligans?
Yeah, I have seen that.
That's West Ham.
Okay.
And they have very similar jerseys to Aston Villa. So if you like that kind of maroon and light blue sleeves look, West Ham is that. They're the Hammers. Their nickname is the Academy of Football because they are also well known for developing young players, bringing them up, and sending them to greener pastures and whatnot. Their entrance song is the "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles" song, and they blow bubbles in the stands. It's a great song. They fly so high, nearly reach the sky, and like my dreams, they fade and die. And they've most certainly faded and died this past season. They're not going to be playing in the top tier. But they are a big club, again, a London club, so that's something to consider. Next couple of ones, it's kind of, again, it might be in Y tier if it wasn't for them being in the second tier of the league, so they're in Hell. Burnley, which again kind of has that maroon and light blue color scheme. They're owned by J.J. Watt partially. Not much to say about Burnley. Wolverhampton Wanderers, they have a sick logo. It's a hexagon with a wolf in the middle, and they wear orange and black. It's a kind of a cool logo. The Molineux Stadium is pretty cool, but they're in dire straits right now. They always seem to sell off their best players. That's a buy low opportunity maybe, but Wolves are kind of a mess right now. And then Southampton, a bunch of cheaters they are. They are, I don't know if you had seen this, they were caught spying on practices leading up to the promotion playoff game, because when you're in the second tier, you can play in a playoff to win promotion.
So Spygate.
Yeah, they it was British. You know what? That's easier way to put it. It was British Spygate. That was Southampton. So unless you want to root for a bunch of cheaters, don't ignore the Patriots fandom in you.
I was gonna say, like, as much as I love our boys, we are not very popular around the league of our football. Yeah,
Southampton's on a lot of people's shit list right now, but they will not be playing in the Prem this season. So, okay. And then the 7th and final tier I have is simply Jail Time with an exclamation point. I teased that at the beginning. I'll say it now. Wrexham Football Club. Do not pick Wrexham. That is Reddit Quirk Chungus Jail Time to the highest order to root for the Ryan Reynolds and Rob Mack, because it's not Rob McElhenney, it's Rob Mack now.
Absolutely not.
It was fun a couple of years ago. Now, not so much. I wouldn't go Wrexham if I were you.
Okay, that I was not playing. I know they have been promoted like several times at this point.
Oh, they're on a meteoric rise. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like teams from them being, they were in like the 4th or 5th tier or something like that. They never get a rise this quickly. That takes like 20 years of investment. It's insane how much they've been able to turn it around. And I think at some point they very well could be in the Prem. They were close last year. They could be in the Prem within the next 5 years. I wouldn't be surprised. It's just now, like, every American fan, I like Deadpool, so I'm going to root for Wrexham. Forget it.
No. Alrighty. Well, I think I do have my final finalist here. So I think Aston Villa. Aston Villa. I should probably get their name.
So that good start. Ashton.
Yep.
So my final, Ashton Kutcher.
Ashton Kutcher, yes. I'm going to put Everton on there as well. Everton, I like that they're rivals with Liam. I think that would be fun. You would make a mortal enemy out of Liam. I think that would be fun too. So that's also something to consider.
You two, your Merseyside derbies will be great.
I think I'm gonna pick Leeds just because of their uniforms.
Marching on together.
Yep, and then I think the last one that I'm going to nominate is Newcastle because I really like the black and white uniforms and their
clean
logo
look
and everything. Yeah. So I don't know if you have any strong opinions on any of these, and I want to hear from people in the chat what they think too. But
sure.
I think there's a fair chance of any one of these.
Again, Newcastle. Again, you would be buying them on a dip here. There's some dirty pricks, those players on that team. Although we just bought one of their dirty pricks, and now he's our dirty prick, Bruno. We love him very much now, don't we, folks? But great jerseys, it is true. And I think they'll be back I don't think they're going to get relegated, Newcastle. But, stranger things have happened, I suppose. Villa's strong. If you want a team that has a lot to play for right off the bat, Villa is in that group. They have European football coming up. They're going to be in the mix for a Champions League spot this upcoming year. I don't think they'll get it. They'll probably finish around 6th place or so this year, if I had to say. Still a good team. Still a good manager. Good infrastructure there. Again, they're the Brewers, I think. That's you could have a good time rooting for the Brewers, even if you're not going to maybe win anything at the end of the day. Love the Everton shout. Again, I respect Everton a lot, and any excuse to make fun of Liam, I'm cool with that. And then the fourth one, you said Leeds, right?
Yeah, Leeds. Yeah,
Leeds is maybe the most uncertain of the four because they could they could drop like a rock pretty quickly. It happens quick for some teams, but they're a fun culture. Again, Marching On Together is a fun song to kind of get into the spirit of rooting for Leeds. It's a solid four though. It's a solid final four.
All right, we have a note from Alex. I would go with Leeds, depending on how much YouTube football. So I might not factor that in. I'm gonna try to just dip my toes first, but I think I have a decision.
Hold on, right here. Just quickly, I don't know how. Are you familiar with Sam Fender, the musician?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay, I was gonna say he's a Newcastle fan. I'm just trying to run through people I know this person is a fan of this team.
Yep.
Will Ferrell's a minority owner of Leeds. I didn't actually know that.
You know what?
Let's do this.
Yeah.
I apologize if it's going to end up being Google AI slop. Let's look up famous fans of these teams.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Just to give you an idea, all right? Some famous Aston Villa fans, according to Reddit. Fucking A. BirminghamMail.co.
Yeah, who's the Maria Menounos of these clubs? Shout out Section 10.
So the royal family, is it William, who's the 40-year-old who's going to be the heir apparent after Charles? It's William, right?
No idea.
William, I believe, is a Villa fan. Who else? David Cameron, who used to be the Prime Minister. Tom Hanks is an Aston Villa fan.
Ooh, that is a strong pitch right there.
Trying to look through. 15 former. Okay, this is really bad radio. I apologize. Okay, Prince William, Ozzy Osbourne was an Aston Villa fan. That is
Okay.
true because they played Villa Park was where they played that concert. I forgot to mention that. That's a big one. Are you a WWE fan?
My fiance likes it, so
Do you know
I
who
have
Dolph-
been
Do you know who Dolph Ziggler is?
I have heard that name before, yeah.
So that's a couple. So again, you could do some more research on that, but these are just some of the ones I'm finding. Famous Everton fans. Let's see who we got here. Who's rooting for the Toffees? Well, Sir Paul McCartney, like I had mentioned. Dame Judi Dench, I'm being told. Helena Bonham Carter. Matt Damon.
Okay.
WWE superstar Jeff Hardy recently claimed to be an Everton fan, according to Reddit. Jamie Carragher, who you wouldn't know who Jamie Carragher is. He plays, but why would Jamie Carragher be an Everton fan if he played for Liverpool? That's besides the point. So yeah, there's a couple there. Apparently, Michael B. Jordan, according to this YouTube thumbnail, there's a picture of Sylvester Stallone holding up an Everton scarf. So that's something to consider. There.
yo.
Yeah, Everton, we love the Toffees, baby.
Newcastle United.
That's good.
Adrian, I was just wondering, if you wanted to watch the Toffees.
All right. Newcastle United fans, famous ones. I said Sam Fender. Sting is a
Okay.
Newcastle fan. Brian Johnson, lead singer of AC/DC.
Not former Red Sox pitcher Brian Johnson.
No.
If you told me Brian Johnson, the Red Sox pitcher, was a fan of this team, I would pick him just because of Brian Johnson. He was such a dude.
Tony Blair, if you want to keep up with your British politics. Not a ton here. Again, the lead singer of Dire Straits. I forget his name off the top of my head. Oh, God. Complete brain fart. But I know he's a Newcastle fan. If you like Dire Straits. Matty Healy of the 1975 is a Newcastle United fan. I do know that. He has a Newcastle United tattoo. And he was freaking out when got the outside investment like back in the day. I remember that. Mark Knopfler is the lead singer of Dire Straits. He's a Newcastle fan. So there you go. And again, they also have the Newcastle Ale shirts from back in the day. And then finally we have, Leeds United? Leeds. Marching on together. Famous Leeds United fans. Erling Haaland, funny enough, is a Leeds fan because his dad used to play for Leeds. That is true. Who else? Not a lot in terms of Leeds here.
That's fair enough.
Not a lot. It's a little bit more thin, I must say. So there you go.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe is a Leeds fan.
Sure.
Again, Will Ferrell, as we mentioned, if he's in.
Yeah.
Mel B of the Spice Girls. That's Scary Spice, in case you were wondering. So yeah, those are
All
Leeds
right.
fans.
Well, drum roll, please. Without further ado, the decision. Aston Villa.
Aston, you are a villain. AVFC.
Yeah, I feel good about this decision because it's not a club where I'm clearly bandwagoning. A little hipster, kind of like you mentioned that
Yeah.
as well, but I really do like the uniforms. I'm excited to get to know these lads. Who should I know off of this team?
Your goalie's a prick. Emi Martinez. He's an absolute dickhead. He's the Argentinian goalkeeper. He's really good. He used to play for Arsenal, but he is a complete dickhead.
Oh, was he the one that had it like on the side of his hair during the
Yes.
World Cup? Okay,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, and I do like. Hey, I mean, I am wearing the Messi jersey, so I did enjoy watching him
Yep.
during the World Cup too. So I can understand why you wouldn't like him, but that makes me like him even more. So I'm very confirmed with this choice right now.
He's a good player. He is a good player. He's a good goalie. He's a prick, and I'm sure if he's on your team, you appreciate him. Looking through Transfermarkt here, because again, you've lost a couple of your best players. You lost Morgan Rogers. You still have Ollie Watkins, I think, right? I think you still have Ollie.
You're asking me like I know.
Yeah, well, yeah, Ollie Watkins is going to be your big striker.
Yeah.
Aston Villa Football Club. Let me just go here. Players. Looking through. John McGinn from Scotland.
Okay,
Super
I like
John
that. The Scots were fun while they were here.
Here's your captain. Yep, you still have Ollie Watkins. Oh, I forgot you loaned Garnacho. Get ready to hate Alejandro Garnacho. By the way, you're not going to.
Is he our Jaron Duran?
Yeah, actually, that's actually probably a pretty good comparison, Garnacho. You had this guy Amadou Onana, but I think he tore his ACL during the World Cup. He's a good player, but you're probably not going to see him for a while. You got some good players here, man. I mean, it's still, even after losing, I think you had your Tielemans, and then Morgan Rogers was your big one. That's a huge loss, but you'll still be a solid team, I think.
Okay, well,
I'd
this
say
was very fun. I learned a whole lot about soccer this episode.
There you go, right?
Yeah.
I'd say your top 3 guys are going to be John McGinn, Ollie Watkins, and Emi Martinez.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I'm very excited to, start following some footy this year.
Absolutely.
We'll have to try to find a time to watch the game with the fellas. Maybe before a Sox game, if we do have Sox next year.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah.
Yeah.
You won't be able to go into Dillon's on Boylston, the Arsenal bar, because no away fans there, especially for big games.
Fair enough.
No away colors.
Yeah.
They do it like a proper pub. What's the Aston Villa bar in Boston?
This is a great question. I'm excited to find out, though.
I will tell you in a moment. At Phoenix Landing or the Rising. I thought Phoenix Landing was Liverpool. Huh. I do think the Greatest Bar right by the Garden, I think that's a big just soccer bar in general.
I have been there before, yeah.
Liam had mentioned that before, that Greatest Bar is a good spot to watch the football.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for, hopping on here.
Absolutely.
Always
man.
a lot of fun. Probably like I mentioned before, 12th crossover. But for people that for some reason might not know who you are or about Pod on Lansdowne, also friend of the Believe Network, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend. But let the people know where to find you.
Yes, Pod on, which, by the way, we have to show this episode to Jake because he's a fence sitter. He won't pick a team. He doesn't really care about soccer. The joke we always have is when Arsenal and Liverpool play, whatever the result is, you get custody of Jake. So, as it stands right now, I think custody is shared between us both. But no, the show is at Pod on Lansdowne on all your social media platforms. We're biggest on Twitter, but we're also on Instagram. We're pod.on.lansdowne on TikTok, which we're trying to build that as well. I am at Fitzy Mopena. Jake is at Jake Wally. Liam is at Liam Fennessy _. We release every Wednesday, once a week. And also, the Pod on Lansdowne Movie Club, our new Patreon, $5 a month, 2 bonus premium episodes. Come and join that. It's been a blast so far. We're starting with the Star Wars prequel trilogy. Episode 1, Phantom Menace, is a free episode for everyone. Don't even have to subscribe. Talked about it for like over 2 hours. It was a great time. But other than that, we'll still be online shooting the shit with the NASP boys and everyone else on Sox Twitter as this magic carpet ride for the Sox continues. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm very excited for when our teams face off against each other. We'll have to get some banter in there. But in
just
the meantime, oi. Okay, I love you. Bye. Okay, no, I love you. Bye. Okay, no, I love you. Bye.
I love you. Bye.
Okay.